Title: Monetary Engines: How Bitcoin and Credit Shape Two Civilizations. Section 1. Introduction. Engines define economies. What if money wasn't just a medium of exchange, but a motor, an engine, a force that defines the tempo and trajectory of a civilization? Every monetary system is an engine. It takes in energy, transforms it, and outputs a specific pattern of behavior across society. Some engines are built to preserve value. Others are designed to extract it. Some align with natural systems and reward efficiency, truth, and time discipline. Others distort incentives, conceal costs, and feed on borrowed promises. Today, we stand between two such engines. The first is the fiat credit engine, powered by synthetic debt, duration mismatch, and relentless inflation. The second is the Bitcoin H.E.D.G.E, a high-energy, dense growth engine built on scarcity, energy, and thermodynamic finality. Each engine runs on a different fuel. Each one outputs a different kind of society. This exposition compares their design, their fuel sources, and their consequences. We examine how real-world financial instruments, particularly MicroStrategy's use of Bitcoin-backed preferred stock, offer a living example of an inverted monetary engine that mirrors and exposes the deeper truths of the fiat system. Ultimately, this is not just a conversation about money. It is a question of engineered outcomes. What kind of world are we designing, and which engine will get us there? Section 2. Engine Architecture. Duration and Design. At the heart of every financial engine lies a principle often overlooked by the public, but central to how economies run. That principle is duration transformation, the manipulation of time and capital flows. In the traditional fiat credit engine, this process is executed through banking. Banks take in short-term deposits, your checking or savings account, and use them to issue long-term loans, mortgages, business credit, government bonds. They transform today's liquidity into tomorrow's obligations. This creates an engine of forward extraction. The future is constantly pledged to pay for the present. This is what fuels expansion. A dollar lent today becomes a house, a car, or a war, all on the assumption that the borrower will repay with interest over many years. The bank earns fees up front, interest over time, and rolls the risk forward. But this also makes the system brittle. If tomorrow doesn't come as expected, defaults cascade and the engine stalls. Now enter MicroStrategy, the publicly traded company that famously converted its balance sheet into Bitcoin. But beyond just buying Bitcoin, MicroStrategy introduced something revolutionary: Bitcoin-backed preferred stock. These are financial instruments where investors give the company a lump sum today in exchange for a stream of fixed payments over time. Let that sink in. This is the inverse of traditional banking. A bank gives money now and expects a future stream of payments. MicroStrategy receives money now and commits to a future stream of payments. This inversion matters. It flips the engine architecture upside down. Instead of relying on credit creation, MicroStrategy builds its obligations on top of a scarce, energy-backed asset, Bitcoin. Its engine runs not on debt issuance, but on digital scarcity. There is no credit expansion. There is no hidden dilution. There is only a transformation of stored energy, Bitcoin, into financial performance through dividends or yields. This contrast in design reflects a deeper divergence in worldview, one where the future is borrowed and one where the future is earned. Section 3. Fuel source analysis. Scarcity versus synthetic credit. Every engine requires fuel. The nature of that fuel determines the integrity of the system, how efficiently it runs, how sustainable it is, and what kind of byproducts it produces. Fiat, the synthetic credit fuel. The fiat monetary engine runs on credit expansion. Money is no longer backed by gold or energy. It is conjured through lending. Commercial banks issue loans, and in doing so, they create new money. Governments run deficits, issue bonds, and central banks buy those bonds, monetizing debt and distorting interest rates. The result is a perpetual feedback loop. Credit creates money, and money demands more credit. This is a synthetic fuel, easy to produce, but corrosive over time. Like burning cheap oil, it provides a quick burst of energy, but leaves behind toxic residue: inflation, asset bubbles, misallocated capital, and widening inequality. And just like low-grade oil, it must be constantly replenished. If credit creation slows, the entire system seizes up, as seen in 2008 and again in 2020. Bitcoin, the high-energy dense digital fuel. Bitcoin, by contrast, is mined. not printed. Its supply is fixed at 21 million. Its security is rooted in proof of work, a process that converts real-world energy into incorruptible digital value. Each new Bitcoin represents a thermodynamic cost, a compression of physical energy into a scarce digital commodity. This makes Bitcoin the monetary equivalent of nuclear fuel. It is expensive and difficult to produce. It is incredibly energy dense, capable of storing massive value in tiny digital form. It is bounded by immutable rules, not human discretion. It does not inflate or degrade with time. It compounds trust. Where fiat is like burning oil, Bitcoin is like harnessing the atom. Chart title: Fuel Comparison, Fiat Credit Engine versus Bitcoin. Hedge chart summary: Fiat fuel is infinite, synthetic, and dependent on continual creation. Bitcoin fuel is fixed, mined, and backed by energy. Fiat creates inflation and instability. Bitcoin preserves purchasing power and trust. In short, fiat burns borrowed time. Bitcoin stores harvested energy. The type of fuel used dictates the tempo, trust, and trajectory of the engine it powers, and by extension, the society that runs on it. Section 4. Output and externalities. What each engine produces. An engine is judged not just by its design or fuel, but by its output. What does it produce? What does it leave behind? And how does it shape the behaviors and incentives of those plugged into it? The fiat credit engine: inflation, extraction, and distortion. When an economy is powered by credit expansion and synthetic money, the output is a system that incentivizes short-term gain, overconsumption, and systemic dependency. Inflation becomes structural, not an accident, but a feature. As credit grows, money loses value. To survive, people are pushed into constant economic activity just to stand still. Savers are punished, workers are squeezed, debtors are rewarded. Asset bubbles inflate, real estate, equities, even used cars become speculative instruments. The price of shelter, food, and education drifts out of reach for younger generations. Productivity decouples from prosperity. You can work harder and still fall behind, as fiat leakage eats your labor's purchasing power. Governments overspend. Political cycles demand promises now, with costs deferred indefinitely. Wars, bailouts, subsidies, and pork barrel projects are underwritten by future taxpayers who had no say. Degeneration sets in, the social contract phrase as reality detaches from financial representations. Trust collapses, cynicism rises. People no longer believe in the scoreboard. The fiat engine consumes time as its core fuel, monetizing the future, extracting labor, and repackaging it as momentary growth. The Bitcoin H.E.D.G.E, deflation, regeneration, and time sovereignty. A Bitcoin-based engine produces a different set of outputs. Not instant fireworks, but slow-burning civilizational recalibration. Deflationary pressure via efficiency. As technology improves and economic activity densifies, prices can fall naturally. Savings gain purchasing power. Prosperity is not stolen by time, but accumulated through it. Savings become viable again. Instead of being forced into risk to avoid inflation, individuals can hold Bitcoin and retain or grow their wealth over time. This lowers stress, reduces volatility, and enables generational thinking. Work becomes meaningful. When time isn't perpetually devalued, work isn't just survival. People can choose better trade-offs: family, culture, craftsmanship, curiosity. Politics becomes constrained. Without the ability to print money, governments must prioritize, justify, and operate within real resource limits. Fiscal discipline returns as a virtue. Innovation is time-aligned. With long-term incentives in place, science, infrastructure, and regenerative systems flourish. Where fiat demands urgency, Bitcoin creates patience. Where fiat burns trust, Bitcoin stores it. Chart title: Systemic Outputs, Fiat versus Bitcoin Chart Summary. Fiat outputs include inflation, wage erosion, high time preference, and political overreach. Bitcoin outputs include price stability, meaningful savings, time freedom, and long-term thinking. A system's engine determines its outputs. Fiat systems produce instability, urgency, and burnout. Bitcoin-based systems offer stability, time, and sovereignty. One is built to extract, the other is designed to conserve. This content is brought to you by Bobby Giggs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. Section 5. Case Study: MicroStrategy's Monetary Reactor. Amidst the noise of the fiat financial system, MicroStrategy offers a living prototype of a new kind of monetary engine. one that doesn't rely on credit creation or central banking, but instead harnesses Bitcoin as its core fuel. Inverting the duration transformation. Traditional banks operate on a simple model. They loan out capital now, expecting a stream of payments in the future, plus interest. The upfront sum is created or deployed through debt issuance, with risk priced in via fees and rates. This is the core of the fiat credit engine, a time-forward, extractive process. Banks profit immediately. The borrower carries the burden for years or decades, and the source of capital is often other people's money, leveraged through fractional reserves or central bank support. Now consider what MicroStrategy has done. With its Bitcoin-backed preferred stock offerings, MicroStrategy executes the inverse. It receives a lump sum now from investors. In return, it commits to paying a fixed yield over time. Those future payments are denominated in dollars, but backstopped by Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Rather than issuing debt based on credit expansion, MicroStrategy is channeling capital into Bitcoin, letting that energy-dense asset compound over time and using the appreciation or reserve drawdown to deliver returns. In essence, it is monetizing Bitcoin's time horizon, converting stored energy into structured yield. This is not just financial arbitrage. It's monetary architecture. The Bitcoin reactor model, what MicroStrategy has built, resembles a monetary reactor. Capital is poured in upfront. Bitcoin acts as a fuel rod, scarce, mined, and non-inflationary. Over time, it emits value, either through price appreciation or structured distributions. No credit expansion, no artificial leverage, just compounding scarcity. This model exposes something deeper. The flaws of the fiat engine are not just moral or political, they are mechanical. When you flip the design, the incentives flip too. No need to chase yield through risky speculation. No moral hazard from bailouts. No pressure to inflate. You get a system where the store of value becomes the source of return, and it works because of its fixed supply and energy cost, not in spite of it. Implications. MicroStrategy's experiment proves the Bitcoin hedge isn't theoretical, it's already in motion. Investors fund it, markets price it. And over time, as fiat systems lose trust, more institutions may adopt this model. This is the real contrast. Banks are dealers of time debt. Bitcoiners are engineers of time reserve. MicroStrategy didn't just buy Bitcoin, it built a financial engine around it, and in doing so, revealed the obsolete design of the credit-fueled world. Section 6. Civilizational implications. Two diverging futures. Engines don't just move money. They shape culture, values, governance, and ultimately, the future itself. When you choose a monetary engine, you are choosing a civilizational operating system. The fiat future, degenerative momentum. A world built on the fiat credit engine descends into structural instability, masked by surface-level growth. Debt becomes culture, not just a financial instrument, but a default mode of living. From students to sovereigns, all are tethered to the promise of a future that may never arrive. Inflation corrodes trust. Institutions, prices, and contracts lose meaning when the value of money is a moving target. Social cohesion frays as individuals scramble for assets, exit strategies, or distractions. Time is devoured. People spend their best years working longer hours just to preserve purchasing power, while automation and productivity gains are captured by the rentier class. Governments bloat and drift. Monetary expansion becomes a tool of political survival, funding endless wars, vote buying, and technocratic overreach. Fiscal restraint becomes unthinkable. Art, science, and spirit shrink. When time is money, and money is melting, the space for creativity, contemplation, and long-term research collapses. Culture becomes transactional. This is a civilization running on borrowed time, structurally compelled to overconsume, overpromise, and overextend. Its engine runs hot but cannot cool. It creates more noise than signal, more churn than change. It is entropy with a marketing team. The Bitcoin path. Regenerative coordination. By contrast, a civilization powered by the Bitcoin hedge moves in rhythm with reality, not against it. Sovereignty is restored. Individuals, families, and communities regain the ability to save and plan without institutional permission or currency debasement. Time preference lowers. With a durable store of value, the incentive structure shifts toward patience, discipline, and craftsmanship. People plant trees, not just chase trends. Institutions are regrounded. Governments must fund themselves through taxation, not monetary illusion. This brings transparency, restraint, and renewed accountability. Culture flourishes. When people are not trapped in the grind, they can invest in relationships, art, philosophy, and exploration. Meaning, not just survival becomes a metric of success. Science and infrastructure align with nature. Without the need for perpetual GDP expansion, systems can be designed for resilience, not velocity. Efficiency replaces exploitation. This is not utopia, but it is directionally different. It is civilization with a brake pedal, a system designed to synchronize with the laws of energy, time, and truth. Fiat creates a civilization of burnout and belief. Bitcoin creates a civilization of rest and reality. One system must extract more to survive. The other system survives by respecting limits. Section 7. Conclusion. Choose your engine. Every civilization runs on an engine, not just of technology or transportation, but of money. Money governs incentives. Incentives shape behavior. Behavior accumulates into institutions, into culture, into values, and over time, into destiny. Today, the dominant engine, the fiat credit engine, is showing signs of internal failure. It runs hot on synthetic debt, demands perpetual motion through inflation, and distorts the natural rhythms of human life. It cannot rest because it was never designed to. Its function is to consume time, trust, labor, future. Its byproducts are visible everywhere: burnout, inequality, cynicism, ecological overshoot, and institutional rot. But there is another engine now, quietly running in parallel. The Bitcoin H.E.D.G.E, a high-energy, dense growth engine. It doesn't promise something for nothing. It doesn't rely on political trust. It doesn't inflate your time away. Instead, it compresses value into a form that is durable, borderless, and immune to bureaucratic manipulation. It invites a slower, deeper economy, one based on energy, precision, and earned permanence. Where the fiat system borrows from tomorrow, Bitcoin lets you build into it. Where fiat demands faith, Bitcoin enforces math. Where fiat feeds the churn, Bitcoin invites the stillness. So the question is not just economic, it's existential. Which engine will you entrust your time, your family, your labor, and your legacy to? The choice is between an engine built to burn and one designed to endure. You can't run both forever. Eventually, one will seize, the other will scale. Choose your engine.